Welcome to Alternative Dog Moms Podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, the creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. For the past 9 years, I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I started raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott. For the past 9 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself, and I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned on this journey. As the Alternative Dog Moms, we're bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and sharing the tips, tricks, and resources we learn along the way. Now, let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin.
I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. It feels like it's been forever.
By the way, happy podcast anniversary.
I was going to ask you when it was. So yay. It's been a year.
Yeah.
Is this it?
I think so. I think we released it. Yeah. Like right around March 20th.
Okay, cool. Then this will be episode 1 of season 2.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea of having seasons. So the first year was a great year.
I think so.
I think so. So how are you been?
Oh, all right. It's been a lot going on, but yeah, we're all right over here.
Same here. Same. Life. Life has been going on. So, how are you guys doing in this post-Penny world?
It's been weird, it's still weird. We're still trying to find our new rhythm. We have been wanting to get Neno to the vet. He had started the limping back around Christmas time, and we had taken him to a local vet and got some x-rays done that weren't super helpful. And then everything happened with Penny. And then our vet was out of the country for a little while. So we've been trying to get him to see her because he had never actually seen our personal vet since all this. Mm-hmm. So we got him to the vet, and I'll be honest, I feel a little bit like a horrible person right now because when we had taken him to the vet to get the x-rays in December, we were surprised at how much his weight was. And so I had purposely been cutting his food back, and he's been getting more walks, quite frankly, now that it's just one dog. Either of us can walk him at any time. It was always a little bit of a juggle with, it was hard for either of us to take them both on our own. So we had to wait till we were both together to do it with Penny and, So he's been getting way more walks, and I cut his food back, and his weight had gone up 5 pounds since December.
Ooh.
And so we realized there's a thyroid issue going on because he had some other funny stuff, like his nose had gotten kind of dried, and around his ears, the fur had gotten really kind of thin. Yeah. And she's like, I think we have a low thyroid issue. So we sent the blood work out. I should get the results later this week of the thyroid test. But his initial blood work, they check the CBC and the liver and the kidney values. So he had a couple, 2 wonky things in that, he's borderline anemic, which very common in dogs that are hypothyroid. And he had this one kidney value that was a little weird, also very common in dogs that are hypothyroid. So we actually have already started him on a little bit of a low dose of a thyroid medication. It's actually the one that Penny used to take, and we still had him here. Mm-hmm. And I already feel like he's just been a little peppier in the evenings and stuff. So that, I guess the thyroid, when it's low, it slows their whole metabolism down. They start gaining the weight. But, he's such a beefcake and such a broad chested guy that it's it's really hard for us to tell. I thought he had lost weight. I couldn't tell that. If Penny had picked up 5 pounds, I would have known it, But with him, it was so hard to tell. So yeah, now I'm, Project Neno is in full swing with trying to get him, healthy again. And I've been wanting to tell you about this, but we did an Animal Communicator session.
Nice.
And we have this woman that we've worked with for probably close to 10 years now. I mean, not like constantly, but, whenever we need one, that's who we call. And one of the things we were primarily asking her about was getting another dog, and was it the right time? Because Tim and I like fall in love with dogs every single day online. And her like take on it was that Penny's spirit is still very much here in this house. And Neno is not lonely. And he really likes getting the extra attention right now from Tim and I. Yeah. And so she's not saying never, but just, not quite yet. And that we'll know, and that Penny might even like lead the next dog to us, like that we'll know without a shadow of a doubt that this next dog is supposed to join our family. So I think, Tim and I have both kind of been going round and round about what it would look like to, it's like a huge decision for us. We're all such creatures of habit, like to bring another dog in. I have a dog closet cabinet now built where we used to have a second crate because Penny hated crates. So we just took the other one down. So I'm like, I don't even know where I'd put a crate. We'd have to put it in our bedroom or something. Like just these things have been like kind of stressful to think about. And so I think now we're kind of like, okay, we're just going to not try to force anything right now.
Yeah. I'm happy with the way it happened with Bella, because we weren't looking for another dog. I mean, I genuinely thought we were going to foster and give her on. I knew it would be hard, but I really thought that it would be the case. But having her come the way she did, and she just blended right into our family so perfectly. She's an adolescent now, so we're getting a different Bella right now. The Bella we have now barks all the time and wants to go in and out of the house, but she doesn't always want to go outside by herself. And so she just goes in and out and in and out until either one of the dogs goes with her or I go with her. Then she either wants to play. There was one night, I think it was last week, where I was exhausted. I think it was Saturday night. I think I got like 3 hours of sleep, and I had been doing stuff from sun up to sundown. I was busy. I didn't even sit down. I didn't eat until like 6 o'clock. I mean, I was so busy all day. I had so many things going on, and the power went out at one point in time and late at night. And I was just like, golly, just can't catch a break. But since I noticed the power, I went and got like a flashlight just in case. And she was just like, oh, are we up? And so a couple of the other dogs got up. So I was like, I guess, I'll take the flashlight. Let's go outside and go potty. Took him outside. She just wanted to play. And so we're standing outside in the cold, in the pitch black, with me standing there with the flashlight while she has these rings around her neck, and she's just running around, throwing a ring in the air at, 12:30 in the morning. And I'm just like, why, Bella? Why? No one else is doing this. It's like me and the other dogs are all just standing there. The dogs are standing next to me, and we're all just looking at her like, why is this? I know, it's like, why is this happening? I mean, they all just slowly turn around and start walking back in the house. And I'm like, I'm going inside. And she's like, no, wait, I'll just stay out here. She's like, couldn't get her to come in the house to save my life. And she also had like wicked gas.
Oh,
so I kept taking her back out because every time she acted like she needed to go outside, I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe something's going to happen. Nothing happened. The reason why she had wicked gas is because I made the mistake of adding digestive enzymes to her meal. And for anyone listening, if you add digestive enzymes to a meal, or at least in my experience, if I add digestive enzymes to one of my dog's meal and they don't need them, sometimes nothing will happen. Sometimes you get an evening of like the most horrific gas. Mm-hmm. I mean, just they are hotboxing the entire house, and it's horrible. I had this happen with Scout, where it was just sort of like, I was just looking at Scout like, I am so sorry. You must be miserable. I am definitely miserable because I have never smelled anything so bad. And with Bella, we were actually walking around the house looking for an accident because it would smell so bad. We cleaned the floors. We were trying to figure out, we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. We could not find a source. So first we didn't know which dog it was. And the only reason why we narrowed it down to Bella was because there was a time when Johan and I were talking and Bella was standing between us. And then and I was like, there's a smell again. And we're like, it's you. It has to be you.
Poor girl.
And nothing ever happened. She never had any type of blowout incident or anything. It just eventually, by morning, it was all cleared up and stuff. But oh my gosh. So, but she's still a pleasure. I still love her.
Of course.
But nothing's weird or strange happening here. Rodrigo is 13 years old now. So
happy birthday, Rodrigo.
Yes. So I feel very smug and happy because, I did not listen to that first veterinarian who said he was going to die shortly after he turned 3. And, and I feel just very happy that, although we lost his sister, Sydney, I love that he's still doing so well. And what's even crazier is that everybody says, he does not look like a 13-year-old dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, right? He looks so good. He's so, just beautiful. He still pants a lot in the evenings, but he's done that for years. And I'm still just like trying to find the right combination of whatever to like give him some, because I feel like he's uncomfortable. And I don't think it's pain. I don't know. Some people say that it's his age, but he's done this for years. So, it can't 100% be his age. But after last week, because I was already adding the glandular support for my girls. So I ordered the glandular support for boy dogs and started adding that to Apollo and Rodrigo's food. And I'm starting to see a kind of change in Rodrigo. And I'm wondering if that was the issue all along. That's what was missing.
So literally, as soon as we finished talking to Andrea Ring, I ordered that Mercola supplement for male dogs. And I added that to Nina's diet this week. Yeah.
Yep. I put it on a recurring order. And I do it 5 days a week because I always take the weekends off for supplements. And I'm seeing a bit of a difference because I did, after we spoke to Thomas Sandberg, I ordered the boron and was adding that. And I did see a difference with that. But with the boron, I do add it to his meals a few days a week, but I mainly add it to my dog's water. I just add a capful to a huge pitcher of water. So all the dogs are just getting a small amount each. And in that pitcher, I also add colloidal silver and I add teeth.
Woo.
And I say, this has been a great year.
Yeah.
Because the teeth, that's another thing that I'm seeing an improvement in Rodrigo's teeth. And I just happened to notice I was sitting next to him and I was looking at one of his teeth, one of his canines, which was I would say like a yellow color. And his veterinarian was like, no, it looks really good considering his age. He would expect it to look worse, way worse than that. But it's starting to lighten up. So that was something really nice to see. And so I'm still using like the Mad About Organic spray because it makes any plaque on the teeth more porous. So when our dogs have chews or raw meaty bones or whatever, it chips off the plaque really easily. But I am adding the teeth to, I got them their own dedicated pitcher that says for the dogs on a label. It's a glass pitcher that I got off of Amazon and I just keep that filled with water in the fridge. But yeah, I'm really liking that product.
Yeah, I feel like, wow, we've made a lot of changes this year.
I know.
Based on what we've learned. It's awesome.
I know, it's pretty cool. So yeah, he's doing good. Apollo's doing really well. Zoey, I'm trying to get weight off of Zoey and it is not working. And I think as the weather improves, I think that's when we'll see a difference. Cause I know, like in 2020, Zoey started gaining, but when I started working from home, she lost the weight and she was looking so good. And it was because I was walking her every day and I was walking her for like 5 miles or so a day. So I would just talk to friends on the phone and had some really interesting conversations during those walks. But I'm working with the dogs to work up their endurance. So I think we were starting with like a mile and a half a day. And now we're up to like 3.5 miles a day.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm going to work us up to, cause I was walking between 5 and 7 miles a day with the dogs. And so I'm going to work myself up to that too, because that's when she was at her healthiest weight, that's how much we were walking.
Has her thyroid been checked?
I know. Well, and I was going to say, I wonder if that's what I do, but she just had all of her workup. So, and everything came back, swimmingly. And I actually was always worried about thyroid with Sydney. And so I know like all the other signs, it's like, it's not just the weight, but it's like, like what you said with the nose, the losing hair. And everything else is perfect. And actually her vet is happy with her weight. He says she's at the top of the range, but he is like, she can't gain, don't let her gain anymore, but he's fine with what it is. But, whereas when, we start learning about nutrition and everything for our dogs, we also learn about what they should look like versus, what we've come to expect.
Like the body scale.
Exactly. And so she is definitely, like I could feel her ribs. It's not like I'm pressing in and trying to search, where could they be? They're there. But I know that she would be much, even though she's doing great over time, especially as she gets older, having that extra weight is going to be hard on her joints. So I want to get rid of it now.
Well, yeah, that's what we were thinking with Neno too, that he's carrying this extra weight, and that might be part of what, is causing his limping and stuff too. Or it's certainly not helping, Yeah,
exactly. So we're going to just get us onto a really good routine. And she's been doing really good. She didn't like going with the dog walker. It's funny because now that the dog walker has been taking Bella for a couple months, Zoey sometimes acts like she's about to go, but it's like, nope, you go with me. So like after we finish this, if it's still light outside, I'll take her for a walk on the trail. But if not, we'll just walk around. We already did a walk this morning, so we'll just do another walk this evening. And and it's hard to cut back on the meals because, there are so many raw food calculators out there. And although most of them give you the same information, some of them kind of go above and beyond with information. And so you can be told on one, calculator, oh, well, you should feed like, for example, 12 ounces a meal. And another calculator would be like, no, you should be feeding about 9 ounces per meal. And it's like, what the hell am I supposed to feed my dog? And I know ultimately you figure it out and you adjust based on how your dog looks. But on the flip side, I don't want my dog to be starving or to be missing out on nutrients. Right. I'm underfeeding them. And I know that I'm way overthinking it, but that has been majorly on my mind recently of just trying to find the right amount to feed her. And I've come to it's 10 ounces per meal is what works for her. And because I'm training right now with the dogs, I have to adjust back the meal. So everyone's meals this evening will be a few ounces lighter, a couple ounces lighter, because I was training with training treats today.
Hey, quick question for you. Are you someone who wants to be fit, healthy, and happy? And what if I told you you could get your dream body by simply just listening to a podcast? I'm Josh.
And I'm KG, and we're the hosts of the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast.
Listen, we get it. Fitness isn't easy. Carbs, no carbs.
Just stop, okay? It doesn't have to be that complicated. And that's why we made this podcast. We get straight to the facts so you can become your best you.
So the way to check us out is click the link in the show notes or search Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast on any of the major podcast platforms. We'll see you soon.
So that's what I thought. We had joined Real Dog Box after we had Ruby on here. And so I had gotten like some of the meatballs and, so I had been adding some of those into his meal. And so I thought, oh, I need to cut his food back because I've been given this extra stuff. But then like the weight still went up. Yeah. And so that's when it's like, okay, something else is really going on here. And Tim always worries about Lyme disease because, obviously we live in such a tick heavy part of the country, but he had his, Lyme, they call it that 4DX test and heartworm, and like everything's still negative. So we were at least, grateful for that. I trust in our tickless thing, that thing that we put on their collar. I trust that thing, man. Like neither of them ever had a tick on them after we started wearing those.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really cool. Because I've always wondered how those worked, if those worked. What is it? What keeps the ticks away?
So it puts out a frequency that people can't hear and dogs can't hear, but it deters the ticks and fleas and dust mites in your house.
Oh,
And
so cool.
and so, and so Tim, he's always like the cynic, skeptical guy at first. And he's like, all right, so we're paying for this box. We're putting on their collar, but we can't hear it and they can't hear it, but we're just supposed to trust. And I was like, dude, like, I trust these people. I trust what I've heard about it. Like, I mean, Dr. Judy now sells it. Like, I trust this thing. And he's like, all right. And yeah, the only time we've ever seen a tick on them in this past like year and a half was the one day we forgot to put their collars on and we're just walking them on their harnesses. It's the only time we've ever found a tick on them.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And that thing has lasted a long time because they suggest like you can push this button on it and it'll blink at you if it's still active. And they say like, oh, it'll last about 6 months. Like we've had it for almost a year and a half and it's still blinking.
Oh, wow. That is really nice. How much do they cost?
I think they're like $40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Compare that to the cost of like
Frontline or yeah.
Good gravy. That is
that's like $40 a month for that stuff.
I know. Exactly. Yeah, we don't have, a heavy tick area, knock on wood. I've never seen ticks in where we are. But we do have fleas and and we've had fleas that made it into the house, hitched a ride on the dog and came into the house. But for the most part, we just don't have a flea problem. If I get a flea bite, I usually put the dogs outside and spray anything that's fabric with Febreze. And the dogs just stay outside. On a nice day, the dogs stay outside for the day. And I open the windows because that stuff is strong. But that Febreze is a flea bomb. It kills fleas. And that's, I basically have to do that probably, maybe once a year, once every other year. But for the most part, the Animalio is really good. I'll start adding garlic to everyone's meals except for Bella because she's still a puppy. But once she hits a year old, adding that garlic to her food too. I should probably Google that to make sure that's right. I just know that you're not supposed to add it to puppies. Her growth is slowing. So she's at 50 pounds. She might be at 50 pounds now, but the last few times I've weighed her, she's been in like the mid 40s. Mid to late 40s. And so she's starting to slow down and it'll be interesting to see. She's bigger than Rodrigo. She's bigger than Zoey. She's longer than them. And she's almost as long as Apollo, but not quite as tall, but almost. Wow. But when you look at them together, he still is just a monster compared to her. She's still so very tiny. And she's, so skinny and stuff, like not unhealthy skinny, just puppy skinny. Yeah. And so I still don't have a beat on what her adult weight is going to be like. And so I'm waiting to see, she'll be 8 months in a couple of weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That went fast.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. But yeah, she's a little silly girl. But yeah, I can't believe it's like, it's flea and tick season, for some people still have snow, but
we never got any snow here in Baltimore this year.
Really?
Yeah. It's been the craziest winter. I mean, we had some days that were cold and windy, but never any snow.
We got snow, but not what we usually get. All of our snow here were like dustings of snow. Where maybe we got a couple inches, 2-3 inches. I think once we did get, when we first brought Bella home, we did get a few inches of snow. I think we got about 5 or 6 inches of snow because she just would not come in the house. She was like in hog heaven. But that still didn't last long. It was there for a few days and then it melted away. I remember it melted at first, froze, and then it snowed again. And then so I think we had like a week. And then it never really happened again. But mostly we're just right now, like, was it not last night, but the night before, 24 robbers came knocking at my door. I know. It's a rhyme. that we used to say when you're doing double dutch, and it just came to my mind. I don't even remember the rest of the rhyme, but the night before last, it was raining so crazy hard that, in fact, no, it was last night, and she kept running to go outside because she saw a deer. And it was so cool because I went outside wondering, what the hell is she barking at? And I saw the deer bouncing, and I was like, oh, look at you. You see a deer. So I just closed the door and let her continue barking. But after that, she just wanted to keep going outside to see if the deer was out there. But she would come inside, and she would just be soaked. And I just got tired of drying her off. So I was just like, you don't get to go outside anymore.
It's definitely been rabbit pellet season here. Neno's hunting all over the yard for him.
I know, we should probably be getting that soon too, because and I need to start watching out for, I thought it was bear poop because I looked at it and I looked for, like wild animal poop online, and it came up what it looked like. It really looked like bear poop. But last year, this poop mound was partially in my flower garden. And I know a bear wasn't walking by our house. So I think it was deer poop, because I'm used to deer poop looking kind of like rabbit poop, but just a bigger pile of it. But I'm pretty sure this was deer poop. And I didn't appreciate them pooping in my flower garden, but I just went ahead and buried it. But now I'm looking on my phone to see if, it looks like, oh no, but there it is. White-tailed deer. Yep, that's it.
Is there like a poop finder app?
It's you just type in deer poop. It's like the only thing you can do that's not, people aren't grossed out by and not worried about I'm convinced that the FBI watches our internet tracking to
oh, I'm sure. The NSA, somebody.
Yeah, who the criminals are. So I'm always like, do I really want to Google that? But yeah, that was deer poop. So it's a certain type of deer. But I have to go and find that and get it out of the yard because the dogs will eat it.
I have to tell you what I just Googled during dinner. For some reason, Tim, he was doing that thing where he's doing like Neno's voice, and then he does this like chuckle. And I was like, oh, that chuckle you're doing reminds me of that cartoon dog. And he's like, which dog? And I'm like, yes. And so I'm Googling like Boris and Natasha's dog, and his name was Muttley.
I can't believe how I just knew that. It came right to me.
So yeah, that was my most recent ghost.
Yep. Yeah. So I saw an announcement on Instagram about a new product alert by Green Juju. Do you have any idea what it is?
No, I don't, but I'm very curious given their HPP video.
I know. I was wondering so when they came here to, present at our local pet store, so it was Kelly and Billy, it was a fun event, but no one came. It was so funny because it's like, so does anyone have any questions? And everyone's just standing there looking at each other. And, and I asked a question, and Julie, who owns a pet store, she asked a question. I think someone else asked a question, but it was just sort of like, next time they come to town, if they ever come to your town, have a list of questions just in case the room just goes awkwardly silent. Because it was just like, okay. But they were talking about, HPP. And I remember not them, but I saw something else on social media where someone was saying, you'd be amazed at how many things are HPP. That the person was saying, I'm always so surprised when people get so angry about HPP, because tons of stuff in the human space is treated that way. Like, it's not unusual for it to happen. And I know that some of their treats, I don't know if it's all of their treats, but I know their treats have gone through an HPP process. So that's something that I never once looked up or even thought about. I was always so focused on the food.
Right.
And of course, it would make sense that this is a process, especially considering how expensive the machinery is. And I know some people buy their own and some people send the stuff out to have it done. That, I cannot imagine that the pet industry sustains something like that. And so it's not surprising that, in the human space that things are pasteurized that way and using that method.
Right.
I was wondering if it was going to be food, but I feel like I just can't imagine that they are going to jump into the raw food space.
Yeah, I had the same kind of thought process.
Yeah, because of BJ's Raw, mainly, and possibly because of what happened with Cure. And now we have Solutions. And I just feel like if Billy and Kelly were to go into the food space, they would kind of be direct competition to BJ's Raw and Solutions. I mean, I'm sure that they can probably look at those two, which I consider there are so many amazing raw food brands out there, but when it comes to innovation, those two are just very unique. There isn't another company that's doing nose to tail, and there isn't another company that I know of that's consistently doing any type of fermentation.
Right.
So I think there's one where not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot. I think a couple companies came out with like some type of fermented fish broth type thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the food.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know, my take on it, I have nothing to base this on other than like my own thought process, was that they have their own like little niche of being like not food. It's like all the other things that you want to add in,
So I wonder if they would come out with like a base mix.
That would make sense.
Something, because they have the vegetables and they're doing all of that. If they would come out with some type,
and they already have a freeze dried product.
And that's what I would wonder if that's what they would do.
That's a really good idea.
I know. That would be cool if they did.
Yeah.
Because I only have one company that I buy a base mix from, and there's nothing wrong with Dr. Harvey's. I love their Raw Vibrance and I love their Paradigm. I just always like to have a backup plan.
And rotate things. Yeah.
And so it would be interesting to see if that's what they end up coming up with. I think I'm going to text Billy and say, is it a base mix?
That's a good idea. You should text him right now. By the time this comes out, they'll have already made the announcement.
I know, exactly. Everyone will already know. But I just really want to know. Because it's like, gosh. But and they've been so clever with the stuff that they've come out with. I'm typing him now. Is it a base mix? We'll see if he responds. He'll probably just respond with like that emoticon where it's the finger on the mouth or the finger on the side of the face.
Or it'll be like the sunglasses.
Exactly.
Too cool for school.
Tons of question marks. I don't know. And it's just like, oh, never mind. Be that way. I can keep a secret for a short time.
Oh, he's at Global because they're making the announcement from.
They're making it tomorrow.
Yeah, from
at
Global
noon Eastern.
Oh my gosh, I'll like make sure I have my Facebook on.
So it'll be interesting to see where that comes from. But yeah, it was a fun event. We went to dinner beforehand. We were going to go to dinner after, but it was pretty late at night, so we went to dinner beforehand.
What'd you eat?
I had a salad. Those romaine, where it's like the hearts of romaine type salad with. I had that. It was good. It was. I want another one. I felt distracted because the place was crowded and we were talking a lot, so I felt pretty distracted. But it was a good one. It was all right.
What did Billy eat? I'm sure there was photos taken.
Yes, there were. What did he? He had some type of some pasta dish and something else. He liked it. I just know that. I know. And I think I took a picture of him taking a picture of his face.
I love that.
Something that I tend to do. I didn't share it. But I was just like, because I was like, ooh, if someone gets sued, this is going to be evidence because of the last time.
Exactly.
But I don't remember what Kelly had to eat. I know, I feel like she had. Did she have fries? I feel like there was some fries as part of her meal, but I honestly can't remember. I just know I had my hearts of romaine salad, and it was okay. It was delicious. And I was going to pay for dinner too, but Julie beat me to it. So,
has Billy responded yet?
No, he hasn't. I'm waiting.
Well, the other big news this week was from Dr. Judy.
her new book.
Yes. I've already got it ordered. It should be here tomorrow.
Yep. I don't know. I ordered mine, but I don't know when mine's supposed to arrive. It's so funny because I just ordered it and bounced off of Amazon. It's funny because I think that this book is going to be a really good book for people who are just new to the concept of making better choices for their dogs. And I think it's going to be an easy to consume type of book.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's not going to be so intimidating, but there are still, for a second I was like, do I really need this book? I mean, because technically, do I need another? I have so many books. It's not even funny. But because, basically Dr. Morgan has been part of my journey from start to finish. That's how a lot of people started with Dr. Karen Becker. I actually started with Dr. Judy Morgan. And what's interesting is we talked about this before, but I didn't know who she was. I didn't realize, and maybe for all I know back then, maybe she wasn't who we know her to be today. I just know that when I would reach out for quotes and things for articles, she always responded, and she always responded with such a wealth of knowledge that we decided to connect offline so I can just email her directly when I had questions. And she was always so helpful to me. And so a lot of my early content, when I started thinking about making better choices, which didn't start with diet. For me, it started with flea and tick, and in making better choices that way, and so on and so forth. And I worked my way into diet. She gave me, Dr. Morgan gave me some recipes and just different things like that over the years. And she was really so very helpful. So it'll be interesting to get this book and read it as if I don't know, and just start over to see what she has to say and what's changed. But the sections that I'm most focused on are vaccination, spay and neuter. And then there's another section that I mentioned in an Instagram post, and I don't remember what I said, but I'm looking it up because I feel like it was very important. Natural first aid remedies.
Oh, okay.
Because last week we spoke with Andrea Ring, and I ordered a homeopathy kit.
Oh, awesome.
What's funny is that I ordered a homeopathy kit years ago, back when Sydney was still alive. And I don't even remember what the impetus of it was, but I cannot find that kit anywhere in this house. I have looked everywhere for this, and I'm sure someday it's going to turn up and I'm really like, oh, of course, I remember putting it here. But I have a huge first aid kit for my dogs. I went and got what's it called? What is it? Like a fish box, a tackle box.
Oh,
And that's what I have all their first aid stuff in. And so it'll be cool to kind of see what she has. Cause I have Benadryl in there for bee stings, I have all of the bandages, and it's kind of just very basic type of, I have the nail quick stuff, like if you get there,
quick stop. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very basic, but I have a couple of books about, like over the counter medications that you can give to your dogs. But because I don't know the people who wrote that book, I'm just it's like, oh, well, that's interesting information, but I haven't made any attempts to utilize the information beyond Benadryl, which is something I've always known from my own veterinarians over the years. So I'm just pretty excited because I'm just going to take the information that she shares and just fill out my tackle box. It would be nice to get a slightly bigger one so I can make space for my homeopathy kit.
That's great.
Yeah, I just got one off of Amazon.
Yeah, we keep the Let-'em here for the times when we have found a tick. We have like a whole little tick baggie where it has like this thing that the tick twister or something, so you can pull the tick off. And then we have this tick bite oil that I got from one of my favorite websites, and then we have the Let-'em in there to give them. And so anytime we have found a tick, that's been our system, but that's been a while now.
So what does the Let-'em do?
That's the homeopathic remedy for pushing things out or something. That was like, I think she said you can use that one if you have like a splinter or something
Oh
too.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's right. And it'll work its way out.
Yeah, I think I'm remembering that right.
I was thinking about that because I was trimming our rose bushes this weekend, and I was wearing thick yellow leather gloves, Johann's work gloves, to do it because something happened over the winter where my rose bushes decided we don't want anyone coming near us, and every inch of the stem is filled with a thorn. So I did get a splinter in one of my hands, not from the rose bush, and I was just, oh gosh, what did she say on that podcast? Something that I can push in but I got the splinter out.
So you just reminded me of something. So last week at Tim's work, they had to call 911 because one of his coworkers cut himself very badly with some equipment there in the shop. And so, the one guy made a tourniquet, and then Tim, they actually keep like basically the equivalent of Quick Stop in their shop. And, they got that on until the ambulance got there. But apparently the guy, was kind of, panicking and like running everywhere. And then there was like blood everywhere. And then Tim's just like, oh my God, now I got to clean this up. But he's okay. He was, it was just treated and released. And, it was a little bit of a like traumatic, thing when your coworker's running around like squirting blood everywhere.
That is so, No, I was very careful, but I love my rose bushes. I trimmed them way the hell down though. So I'm working on my garden. I have so many bulbs. It's not even funny. But what's funny is I did go through and I'm trying to plan out my garden so I have flowers blooming from spring all the way through the fall. But I forgot to pick up a few of my anti-flea tick plants because I have rosemary in the garden, which I have two or three huge rosemary bushes. I have some lavender bushes in my garden. And so those just stay and they come back every year. But I forgot to pick up my marigolds. I just realized this because this weekend was just so busy. It was my flower weekend, but I completely forgot. But when I was updating the blog post about flea and tick, I realized, oh yes, I forgot to get my marigolds and I forgot to get my peppermint, which I will only grow in a pot because peppermint will take over.
Yeah, can be invasive. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot to get my peppermint. And there was another thing that I forgot to get, another plant, lemon balm, which I have catnip and lemon balm in my garden. And that's another thing. Their roots go everywhere underground. And then you have lemon balm popping up and catnip popping up in places where this is not where I planted you. And so I know that those are there in the garden someplace. But there was, I think there was another, I can't remember what it was, lemon verbena. So I've always bought lemon balm, but I wanted to try lemon verbena this year because I have the essential oil, but I actually want the plant this year. And so I'm going to give that. But I'm sort of afraid because of what happened with the lemon balm and the catnip that maybe I'll just put that into a pot as well.
My plant lady Jean hasn't kicked in yet, so I don't really do much gardening.
My mother-in-law is like this master gardener. So I've always wanted to learn how to do this. And when Johann built my flower garden, and then last year, it went a little crazy because I went a little nuts. Last year, Johann went and cleaned it up and just, spread everything out. And we got rid of a bunch of plants that, it's like, no, we're just going to clean this up. And it looks so good that I've been just committed to keeping it look good. And so that's kind of, it's a trial by fire. It's my chore. And so I'm trying to enjoy it. I want to get a big hat to wear while I'm out there.
We just have like daffodils that pop up and, like I've never done anything with them. They just are there.
We have some daffodils that came up. We have daffodils and tulips that came up that I forgot that I put up. I have some, I learned that you can take garlic. And if you have garlic and it starts growing the root out, you can just take that and bury it and it'll grow more garlic. So I was thinking about, I did that last year, but then I accidentally dug it up because I was like, what the heck is this? Is this a weed? And it was my garlic. And I was like, oops, my bad. I also saw a video. There's a guy on YouTube where you can take ginger and I don't know how to explain it now because it was a while ago that I watched the video, but I saved it so I can go and get ginger. I was thinking about, instead of getting it at my like grocery store, I was going to go to my local ethnic market, because it seems like there's a local ethnic market that all of their fruit and everything comes from local farms. So I was thinking about getting ginger from there, and you can just basically, you bury it and it just like multiplies, and you can just end up having your own little crop of ginger. And so I was thinking about doing that. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. Slowly, but surely. This is like my way of being, off the grid and independent, but without really being off the grid.
No, it's a great thing. I just, no, I haven't gotten there yet. Tim does more of that than I do, so
it's a lot.
And every couple years he'll like get this real like hair and go crazy with like, planting stuff, and then like he'll get all burned out, or like Neno will pee all over it, and then he's like doesn't do it for like a year or two,
My friend came over once, and one of my rosemary bushes is the bush that Rodrigo and Apollo pee on all the time. And she was watching him. She was like, I'm never going to ask you for rosemary. And I was just like, that bush, they don't pee on that one over there. Just hope that if I give it to you, I get it from that bush. But yeah, it's just, there was something I was doing with rosemary. Oh, there was like a hair treatment you can use with rosemary.
Oh, okay.
But I can't, that's just too much. I'm trying to have a green thumb. I'm trying to grow things on my own, but you can only go so far. It's such a great idea, but the reality is like, it's so much. But what I usually do is like, once I get the flower garden, which should probably take me a couple weeks, get that together. And within the next couple of weeks, I'll get my vegetable starts going. But once I get my vegetables growing, that's when I just basically start harvesting vegetables. Like later in the summer, I'll start harvesting vegetables and making veggie mixes to put in the freezer. And so that's what I'll be doing this summer. But I have a lot of vegetables. I'm not sure if I'm going to be growing all of them. I went a little crazy. And I was very, very, very
enthusiastic.
Yeah. And now I'm looking at it like, okay. Good job, Kimberly. It's too much. So, but we'll see. One day I want to be that person that just knows how to grow everything. I'm still struggling with my succulents. I lost 3 little baby ones, like 3 new ones. I'm not too heartbroken about those, but a lot of my succulents are really kicking butt. And so I'm not going to buy any more. I'm just going to work on trying to keep these alive for as long as I can. For some reason, people say succulents are so much easier than regular plants. I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, I don't think we had good luck with them, or we did for a little while, but I don't know. Something happened.
Exactly.
Or didn't happen, more likely.
I'm doing the best that I can. So, but Bella is almost on to adult food.
Oh, wow.
I've been feeding her my food base for a while. She's still eating commercial raw, but I have an order in with Darwin's. So I get a box from Darwin's every month now, which is for her. And I also use it for when it's just a great backup food when I forget to feed raw, because it thaws so quickly. But yeah, it's crazy how fast she's growing. It's insane. But yeah, I'm feeding her a lot more of my food as well. She has all of her adult teeth, but she's had all of her adult teeth for a while. I haven't fed her. I tried to when she was new to us. I tried to give her a rabbit foot, and she wasn't quite sure what to do with it.
Yeah.
And she recognized that it was food because all the other dogs were eating it, but she just couldn't figure it out. And so I was thinking of maybe this weekend giving her a rabbit foot, or maybe a rabbit ear might be easier to see if she can eat it, because she's getting to be a big girl.
She'll figure it out.
Yeah, you would think so. A friend of mine sent me a picture of half of a rabbit and saying, "Oh, so-and-so's dog eats raw." And I was just sort of looking at it like, I don't want this. and another friend of mine was like, hey, I'm culling my chickens. Do you want some free chicken? Or like, do you want the chickens? And I was like, no, I'm good. And he's like, they're free. Do you want the chickens? Aren't you just throw them out in the yard and feed your dogs? And I was just like, no, it's not what I do. You don't just feed the chickens whole? I'm like, no, I don't feed my chickens that way. And he just kept at me and he was like, but they're free. And I was like, and finally I was like, fine, how many of them? And so I'm taking the chickens and they will be dead, but they will be whole chickens. So I'll have to take the feathers off and,
oh my God,
and process them. And this was my first time ever doing anything like that. So I'm not sure if I can, but I'm going to try.
I am not that girl. You already know. You already know.
Just the look on your face. You're so uncomfortable. You're like backing away. You're so. But yeah, I'm going to try and process chickens and I'm going to butcher them and make dog treats. And so I'll let you know how it goes. Or if it was just like a horrible, horrible mistake. And I just basically put them in a big bag and took them to the dump and threw them away. And shame because.
Oh, wow. That's intense, man. See, this is why people get intimidated about feeding raw because they're like, I ain't plucking no chicken.
I just thought it was hilarious that that's what he thought I did. And he was so shocked because I didn't have the heart to tell him, because I was so shocked that he thought that, the graphic where it says, it does like what I think I do.
Yes.
I do.
Society thinks I do.
It was totally that situation where it's just like, what do you think I'm doing? It's like, no, their food is it, no, that's not what I do. But I'm going to give it a try. And what's funny is that, except for the bones, you don't want to feed them the bones because bones are dangerous. And I'm like, but the chickens are going to be raw, right? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, you can feed raw bones to dogs. And he was like, you can? And I'm just sitting here, you thought I was going to throw these out in the yard and feed my dogs with the feathers and everything. But you thought that I would somehow I'm going to feed them the feathers, but take the bones out? It's just like, make it make sense. And every day I wake up, I want to message him and say, never mind. But I'm trying to step outside the box.
That's and admirably far outside the box.
Exactly. And I just don't know. I mean, because I butcher food all the time, but it's already butchered. I mean, like I have my whole ducks, but they don't have a head and they don't have feet. It's just like the duck, like if you were to get a turkey, it's just that. And I'm just taking a meat cleaver and cutting it into smaller pieces so it can fit into my meat grinder. But I've never actually handled, so this will be interesting.
I'm just laughing in my head because I had gotten a message from a listener recently who was telling me that, she was asking like what brands of raw that I fed because like she doesn't want to put like body parts in her dog's bowl. And I'm like, I am right there with you. You have come to the right place.
I took a picture of, because my friend Michael got me this really beautiful cutting board that has my logo on it.
I saw that. It's beautiful.
I put a picture of it. And then I put the meal that I was feeding the dogs that day when I was taking the picture. And when I first took the picture, it was just all ground raw with an egg. And I'm like, I don't look like a real raw feeder.
There's no head or feet sticking out here.
So I went and got, it's called a Mexican sardine. I feel like that's so racist. I'm gathering the sardines are from Mexico. But I get it from Real Dog Box. So I put one of those in there to sort of give me a little more street cred. And then Ruby sends me a message saying, I thought you weren't shopping in the secret shop. Where'd you get those sardines from? I'm like, I got those a while ago. Stop tempting me. Because I've ignored the last 3 text blasts that have come through.
Oh my gosh. Like I get so bummed when I'm not quick enough to get there.
Isn't it depressing? I mean, you feel like a failure. What's even worse, and I hope I'm not outing myself as a crazy person when I say this, but I have the Feed Real membership. So I get in an hour before everyone else.
Me too.
But, so do everyone else that has a
Right.
So I know it's not like it's me and two other people fighting over things. But so I set my phone as an alarm, and it goes off at 10 minutes so I can go and get everything ready. So I'm ready to sit there. I log in like 4 minutes beforehand and hit refresh. And so I'm ready, and I know, and I go through, and whatever I want immediately. So it's either going to be meatballs or the ground organ mix. I go and get 8 of those and put it in the shopping cart and buy them, because since people can take stuff out of your shopping cart, it's like a horrible, Hunger Games type of situation online. And so that's what I do to get that. And then I go back and I see what other things that I want. And I try to be honest with myself about what I need, because as you can see, just turn that camera
the room, yes.
behind you. Yeah.
The stacks and stacks and stacks of boxes.
And what's sad is that's not all of it. That's most of it, but that's not all of it. The fact that I have containers that are labeled and I know where everything is. My most recent box is over there. I haven't cracked into it yet. And then I have, I think green tripe is over there and something else is over there. I don't remember what. Oh, I think it's all green tripe on the shelf over there. But anyway, so yeah, I will go and get what I need. But if I miss out on something, if there is something that I really wanted, I feel like I'm obsessive about it for at least like 30 minutes, where it's like, gosh, if I would have just done this, and I shouldn't have hesitated here, and I should have just added that, because what gets me is the people taking stuff out of my cart. Is when I'm going as fast as possible, like when they have rabbit meatballs, because it's a cooling protein, I'm all over it. So when I'm going there and I have 8 in my cart and I'm hitting, and then I get this like red little message of, well, some people took something, and I'm buying 3. And it's just like, damn it. And I'm just so disappointed. And I hope that maybe I should make this suggestion to Ruby to make it really vicious. There should be some type of celebration of congratulations. You just took 5 things out of 7. I mean, it's just.
So I'm going to be talking to Ruby next week. She's going to come on the Believe in Dog podcast, and I'm going to ask her if she's encouraging bad behavior with the secret shop.
It's horrible. I am a horrible person. When I am obsessive, I don't like it. And it's so funny because she's like, it's your own fault because you started telling people how to get their stuff in the secret shop. And it was like, I'm a content creator. I'm supposed to be making content. I mean, I just didn't expect. And because I kept talking about how great the organ blend was. And I was just like, it wasn't necessarily me. I'm not that influential. No one's going to pay attention to me. But what if people did listen? And now everyone's buying all the organ blends. So that means I have to buy more. I have to buy more and more and more, because there might be a time when I can't have any. And it's this horrible lack situation of just, it's truly, truly brilliant and evil on a level that I can't imagine. And I have so much admiration for Ruby for coming up with this. It is brilliant, but I am a slave to this secret shop, which is why I will not shop in the secret shop. And I don't think I've said this yet, but I got the best news ever this morning. Best news ever. I got an email very early this morning that my car payment had been canceled. And last month I got the same email, like my car payment had been rejected or declined. Not declined. It wasn't declined. It was something like there was a problem with my payment. And I didn't understand why. And so I went in and you had a little button, go ahead and pay it. And I paid it. And it was like significantly less, probably like half of what it normally should be, less than half of what it normally should be. But I always round up payments to just make it easier. And so I figured, all these years, because I had a 7-year loan, rounding up the payment, that's why it's so low. So I made the payment and didn't think anything of it. And then I got the email this morning, my car payment was canceled. And I'm just like, crap. And I'm really, really anxious when it comes to like my credit score and things like that. So I called them to find out what's going on. And they're like, when did you get the email? And it's like, just an hour ago. And they're looking in my account and she comes to, oh, well, I see right here. This is why it was canceled. I'm like, why? Like, what? I have money. She's like, your loan is zero. So last month was I had a lower payment because it was my last payment.
The payoff balance, right?
Exactly. And so my first thought was, yay, I own a car outright. And my second thought was, what do my dogs need? And all I can think of is, thank God there wasn't a text message from the secret.
A real dog box.
I would have used my car payment.
Oh my God.
And I would have lost my ever living mind in the secret shop. And so I really think that it is for some of us, it's
triggering.
It's like, some people drink, some people gamble. I am like, it's the secret shop for me. And I can't. And when there's something new, I'm like, oh, I wonder if my dogs will like that. What is that? And I have to stop. So I am not going to allow myself to go into the secret shop until April.
So there was a day, I don't know, probably a month or so ago, it was a Friday, and I get the text message and, so it's supposed to go live at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And so I have the alarm, like set on my phone. Well, that's what time I usually leave work on Fridays is 4 p.m. And so, my boss was kind of like, oh, what are you still doing here? And I'm like, I gotta make a purchase. It's a secret shop purchase.
It's the worst when someone starts talking to you when you're doing it.
I'm like, can't talk, secret shop.
When Ruby and I were at that event in Southern California, I was sitting on the floor in the middle of the memorial where they were showing all the dogs that had passed. I was sitting on the floor in a corner and someone came and sat next to me and they were I don't even know what they were talking about. I feel like maybe green tripe, but I also think that I was trying to get green tripe out of the secret shop. So I don't know. And it was Brian. And Brian, if you listen to this podcast, I apologize to you. I'm pretty sure I was listening to you at the time, but I have no idea what we were talking about. But I was trying to get stuff out of the secret shop. And she was standing behind me, filming me laughing as I was just going crazy. And I lost I had the green tripe, but then someone snuck. And I was like, damn it. It went so fast. But yeah. I get so happy because when I see stuff that has tons in it, that I know I can take my time and consider it. And I just go, but if I see something where there's only 20, it's like, damn it, that's good.
So there was like camel meatballs last week. Did you get any of those?
No, I am taking a break from the secret shop.
Oh, okay. Because I was kind of like, I don't know if I can do camel.
I've done them before. Kind
of like a horse or something. I don't know.
Maybe, but I have done them before. I actually knew I have it on my list because Judy Morgan gave me a list of like what the warming, cooling, and what the different animals are. So I knew, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But I have tried the camel, but mostly whenever I go for meatballs, I'm looking for beef, bison, or rabbit.
Yeah.
And I've had to make very strict rules for myself. Oh, and I also do the liver support meatballs. So I have plenty of those as well. But I've had to make very strict rules for myself, whereas like, so when I saw the count, part of me was like, maybe just this once. But I was like, no, you are not doing the secret shop in March. But yeah, I do love being shamed by Ruby of like, that she weren't doing the secret shop. And it's like, you mind your own beeswax. So stop watching me. But yeah, it is pretty exciting. I get more excited about that than, like my essential oils. I mean, I just think it's such a brilliant concept. And I feel like, it's something that they stumbled upon because they didn't have enough to go into all of the boxes, but they didn't want to turn it down. It was like a great price on this limited, and we'll just give it to people this way and let them buy it.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's really so brilliant.
Especially once you figure out how to, because I saw a post on Instagram. I was tagged in a post where someone said, it's because of you and Raw Feeder Life that they run out of things so quickly. And I wasn't even following the other person, but the other person, I was just like, oh, another person who understands the magic of the secret shop.
Paralegals were brilliant, man.
I love them. But yeah, it is. It's like, it's so, yeah, she's like super, super brilliant. That's right. She was a paralegal.
Yeah. In DC, like right down the road.
Mm-hmm.
That blew my mind.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just so, I get so excited about, and it was nice because there were some things that I bought so much of that I have boxes. Like I have tons of rabbit heads and I haven't used rabbit heads. It's funny because I will get people who will be like, but don't they go bad? And I'm like, no, it's all sealed up and in containers. It's fine. But I usually do feed rabbit heads, but I haven't fed rabbit heads since we got Bella because she couldn't have them. But once she starts getting bigger, I'll go to doing the meal of the rabbit head. And I'm like looking over them right now to see what I have.
So I just also have to hand it to them. Like I appreciate their little holiday nods with what I get in the box. So like there was duck hearts in the February box for Valentine's Day. Yeah. There was green tripe in the March box. So St. Patrick's Day. And I'm like, oh, I know there's going to be something rabbit next month for Easter. Like I see what you're doing there.
Or a little chick, little chick pulled. I know because I got what was it for Christmas was I don't know if it wasn't pheasant. It was another bird neck that looks like a little candy cane. Because I have tons of those because they were really good for puppies. So Bella would get those when the other dogs would get something else. But now she's pretty much up with the other dogs.
She's a big girl, kid now.
Girl now. She's so funny. But oh my gosh, yeah. I'm like addicted. I really think it's going to be a base mix. I'm just, he didn't.
Did he respond yet?
No, he didn't respond. It's like such a jerk. Maybe he'll respond in the morning. It's like, he'll respond in the morning. I'm just like so put out. Damn it. I want to know. And can I have some? Because it's like, I would love to have a different base. I would be curious to know. That would be awesome if they came out with a base mix. If it's not, I'm going to ask them if they'll come together with a base mix. Because that would be awesome.
I know they have a lot planned for this year. So we'll see.
I'm just, what's so funny is that when I think about it, I just can't imagine what else they could possibly do.
Well, I mean, I never saw like the golden paste like come in.
Yeah. I honestly, I can't imagine maybe it's some type of sardine thing. Because I mean, sardines is a fish or trout. Trout's a warming fish or I think it's a hot fish, but sardines, I don't even know why I'm thinking sardines. Or like, what if they came out with something with green lip mussels?
Ooh, that's something I always get from the secret shop.
I know. I mean, it's like, it's not there are companies that offer green lip mussels, but it's not a whole lot. And, some type of green lip mussel, like grind, that would be kind of cool, especially if it was fermented or something similar to what they did with the beets. Yeah. And the golden paste, like some type of fish grind rather than a fish broth.
Oh, so I have to tell you, I went into one of the pet food stores last weekend to get some stuff for Neno, and the guy who's the owner of the store was asking me like, so do you know what Green Juju's got coming out? And I had this whole exact conversation with him.
Trying to just figure it out. It's like, what's next?
I was like, no, I don't have that kind of insider info.
I mean, I'm looking around here, just looking at all the stuff that I have around here. Or I wonder if they'll start coming out with supplements because, Solutions came out.
I had that thought too, yeah.
I wonder if they'll do something similar, because that would be pretty cool. And then, I don't think that they would jump into the CBD or, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would maybe do something with mushrooms. But I don't know. When it comes down to it, it's like I can't think of anything, but then I can think of so many things. It'll be interesting. Because it's sort of like I don't, yeah. Because there's some places where it's like, oh, why even bother? Because there's already good stuff out there. But
I know whatever they do will be smart and, well executed. And,
exactly.
I appreciate that, like.
Gosh, it'll be so cool. All right. I'm excited. Tomorrow at noon Pacific or Eastern. So that means 9:00 my time.
Oh, that's perfect. You can just sleep right in and
I'm going to wake up, look at my phone drowsily and be like, in fact, I'm going to actually add it to my calendar just so I can make sure to remember, because I really want to know. I want to know what they came up with.
Inquiring minds. Was that?
And it's like, I'm sitting here like, wait, I would like to have a base mix, but I would really like to have some green-lip mussels, because green-lip mussels are expensive. I spent today searching for the best price, and I like to buy them by the case. The best price was still a little over $7 a pound.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And the highest was like $13 or something a pound. And so I think the next, it was $7, and then it was like $9 a pound, and then it was over $10, and then it was 13 something a pound. So green-lip mussel, if you can make it special enough, like they did with everything else. I mean, because it's like with the bone broth, I can make my own bone broth, but here's something that or I don't buy their bone broth, but I do buy the golden paste. I can make my own golden paste, but theirs is right here,
and it's fermented.
I know, and it's nice. It's something different. So yeah,
Neno loves that because I've been giving him a little extra with the arthritis stuff.
Yeah,
he's had going on. Yeah, he loves the beets too.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, do you do the beets? Do you do them together or different meals?
I kind of rotate it. Sometimes I'll give both at the same time. Sometimes I'll just do like 1 week of just one and then 1 week of the other. Or, just whatever mood I'm in. Yeah. Tim gets like all annoyed. Like, most nights I'm there every night for dinner, but like occasionally I'll have to like leave him, notes of what, to give for dinner. And he's always like, oh my God. Or else he'll be watching me do it and he'll be like, you didn't tell me about that. And I'm like, I just throw it in when
It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Okay. Well, there we go.
Well, I'm glad we got to do this.
I know. It was great chatting with you. It hasn't been just us in a while.
I know. Sign off here and go watch Will Trent.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry, but did they take a week off or something?
They have the weirdest schedule. It'll be like on 2 weeks and then off a week. And
I mean, it's not consistent at all, but I love it so much.
I know.
I get so happy and excited to see it. So I hope it's on, because I watch it on Hulu. So I hope it's on. There's another show that I'm watching. It's on Amazon. It's actually not on Amazon Prime. It's on Paramount, I think, but through Amazon Prime. That's how I'm watching it, at least. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what it's called, but it has Buffy the Vampire Slayer in it.
Oh, okay.
And it's a werewolf show.
Oh, okay.
And it is so good. And I was watching. I always know that a show is really good when at some point in time, I'm just standing in front of the TV watching. And it drives Johan crazy because he's like, why are you standing right in front of the TV? And I don't have any memory of me getting there, but I'm just standing in front of the TV. And so I was doing that today where I was just standing in front of the TV. And it is a really good show. I'm like, every week it ends, I'm like, well, what the hell is going on? Like they revealed a bunch of stuff, which by the time this episode aired, I had kind of like it wasn't a surprise. It was just sort of like, but they were like a bunch of other stuff was starting up where it's like, well, what the hell? And I have so many questions, and I love shows like that where I'm just like, oh, and I forgot how much I love Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for a not vampire show, a warehouse show, what is wrong with my mouth? Wow. But I want to just at least get, it's called Wolfpack. Wow, that's complicated. It's called Wolfpack, and it is very, very good. I'm really enjoying it. So I think it came from a comic book, but I don't know. But it's really enjoyable. And I think it's a good show. So.
I'm trying to remember. Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is back.
Isn't that on Apple Plus?
Yes. But they're doing the 1 episode a week thing. And Tim won't let me watch it until they're all out and so we can binge it. And I feel like it's like this torture that like I know it's there, but I can't watch it yet.
I really need to start watching Apple TV because I know I have it because I have a MacBook. So I know I have Apple TV, and I watch on YouTube. One of my favorite things to watch are trailers. And I don't even remember what the show, I don't know anything about the show, but I was watching something this morning and I was like so into it. Oh, it was on the tip of my head and it's gone. I was so into it that I was like, oh my God, what is this show? And it was like Apple TV. And I'm like, damn it, I haven't figured that one out yet.
That one was a pain to figure out and actually get on the TV until we have Comcast. And I think finally Comcast got it on, so I just can say Apple TV, and it like shows up now, because I'm pretty sure we watched the first 2 seasons of Ted Lasso on my laptop.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out how to get it on the TV.
Which I don't mind, I guess, but I would really like it to be on the TV.
Yeah.
It's just too much. I'm at a technology standstill right now where there's so much going on. I just figured out probably a couple months ago how to add captions to my reels. And
oh my God, I wanted to ask you how to do that.
It's so easy. I'm embarrassed.
Like you can do it right in IG?
Yeah, you basically go to the stickers, and one of the first things on where I go all the time so I can add stickers, one of the first options is captions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's that easy. I finally just Googled it because I was like, everyone has these really cool captions.
I know.
And I would like to have really cool captions. And yeah, it was so easy. And it's just like, I'm not, a knob or anything, but it's just like, there's so much and I'm tired. Now they're talking about AI and how it's going to kill us someday,
Oh yeah, I cannot
and it's like
get down with the AI.
Terminator was right.
I don't know if you get all these things, because you have a podcast and it'll be like, oh yeah, write all your show notes, do everything with AI. And I'm like, nope. Nope. I'm not the one. You're not going to Terminator me. Like,
it's like, if it's not the Terminator, it's Matrix. It's like those 2 movies are like, I feel like they were trying to warn us.
I know.
They were trying to warn us about something, so please stop.
Just so everybody knows, any podcast I am ever on, those are not AI generated show notes. That is me sitting there typing that up.
Not to mention, it's kind of scary, the whole where they're doing the deep fake voices. And at first I was like, oh, but it's probably like these super high tech geek guys at these Silicon Valley companies doing this. No, it's a bunch of college kids. And it's like, no, you guys should be kicked out of school because that's scary what you're doing.
They actually had on like our local news, they had like one of the newscasters do a read and then the AI of her voice, and they like, covered like her mouth or whatever, and then they played it and had everybody guess. But Tim and I knew right away which one was the real one and which one wasn't.
Oh, good. Oh, good. That's
not going to get me.
Because it's like, I'm a bit concerned.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same way. I'm like, I'm not a Luddite, but I'm I am a woman of a certain age, so like
it's like I just need people to be simple and safe. That's all I need. I just need it to be simple and safe, and I just can't with all this stuff. Once it starts sounding like any type of storyline from any of the Terminator movies,
exactly,
from
the Matrix. Yeah.
You're losing me. I mean, that or the Contagion movie. If it's any, those are the 3 movies that to me represent the future, and I'm not down with it. It's just like I don't want to live underground with pods or button things coming out of my body.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything coming. Like I saw something where they were like, oh, they sent this thing back into the past. No, we don't mess with time. The space-time continuum is a very gentle thing.
Or dinosaurs.
Yes, exactly. No, I remember years ago they came out, someone said that, oh yeah, they found amber. No.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They were talking about like making mastodons or something.
Yes.
It's like, no, that's where it starts. We have a full series of movies telling us how that never ends well. It's like, I don't count on Hollywood for much. I honestly think actors are, for the most part, horrible people. I love you, Tom Cruise. But I think Tom Cruise is probably a scary person in real life.
Of all the actors, you like him?
I do. I love Tom Cruise. I love him. You know why? Because whenever I sit down to watch a Tom Cruise movie, and now it's circa Mission Impossible forward, with a few exceptions, but for the most part, lately and over the past 15, 20 years, I have never been disappointed. And I love an actor who, when you go to the theater to sit down to a movie, he comes on the screen and tells you how hard they worked to make this movie for you, and we hope you enjoy it. I don't know why, but the audacity and arrogance of that man just does something for me. Not, in a sexy way, just I love Tom Cruise because you know what? I loved that movie. Maverick was fantastic. He's entertaining. I was watching one of the Mission Impossible movies where he is hanging off the side of a mountain or a rock or something. I love the fact that he runs in all of his movies, just like I love the fact that Brad Pitt eats in all of his movies. I love to be entertained, and there is a handful of actors that I just love them.
He's got to be 60 or something now, right?
Yes, and he is in such great shape.
Well, if we had that much money, we would too. I mean, they get all the stem cell injections and all that kind of stuff.
I love Tom Cruise. But what I was saying was Hollywood, although I don't care about their politics, I'm not interested in any of that. I just want them to be like the court jesters and entertain me in this crazy world. I do appreciate the fact that they have solidly warned us on a repeated basis of things we should not be doing. And most of us get it. But then our scientists are like, that's a good idea.
Right.
And it's just like, exactly what part of Jurassic Park do you think is a good idea?
Right.
I mean, not only did they do it 3 times, they came back and did it 3 more times. And none of it was a happy ending. It was all bad.
Well, I guess this is what happens when you have all these college kids that haven't seen any of these Terminator or whatever movies. I was listening, I'm a big, huge fan of the Murdaugh Murders podcast with Mandy Matney. She's this journalist. She has covered that whole Murdaugh Murders thing very well. But she was talking and somebody made a Godfather joke or reference. And she's like, oh, I've never seen that. And I'm like, oh my God, we have people that are like successful members of society right now who never watched The Godfather.
Do they not understand how many movies reference that scene at the end of the first Godfather when she's watching, she turns around and sees her husband and realizes who she just married? There are like other scenes where like, they were talking about Succession. The end of the last season of Succession did that a similar type of scene. And it's just like, it's so beautifully done. Godfather was in a time, and we just totally went off the rails, but Godfather was in a time when, movies were movies.
Right.
It's like, okay, Grandma Kimberly, tell us about walking up and down both ways. But still.
We had to walk uphill both ways in the desert to get to the movie theater.
It's like, no one cared. But I honestly think that it's so interesting because, when the first Jurassic Park movie came out, I don't think we were using email.
Oh, no.
And there was no social media.
Oh, God. I worked at a movie theater when like the second or third one came out, and I was still in high school, and I never used email until I was in college.
Because because the first movie came out, there was movie phone still where you called a number to find out when the movie times were. And I think that there were chat rooms around that time, some point in time, but that was where all the creepy people went.
Yes.
But otherwise it's just like, internet and all that. So maybe that's the difference, is like people just aren't scared enough, where the rest of us had to go home and just had our imaginations of what we just saw and how bad it could be. And it's like, so we were really impacted. The same thing like with Jaws. How many people don't go into the ocean still
My husband.
Me, it's just not where I belong. One of my horror, like when it comes to horror movies, people like Saw and, Hostel and all, I was going to say Edward Scissorhands, Freddy Krueger, all of those are horror movies for a lot of people. My horror movie was the movie with, I'm horrible with people's names, Kristen Stewart, where she was in the underwater movie. And I don't remember what it was called. Maybe it was called Underwater, where she worked at some type of scientific thing underwater. That is a horror movie to me. And I watched it, loved it, enjoyed it, but it's a scary movie to me. What movies that I absolutely cannot see and you can't pay me enough. Well, I'm sure there is a dollar amount, but I can't think of it to see is movies of people in space. I can't with people. I can with like Alien and stuff, but if anyone is floating around in space, that freaks me out like you wouldn't believe. They had a scene of that in Guardians of the Galaxy. It freaked me out, but it was fast, so I was able to make it through. Okay, I'm done. Please judge me because I deserve it.
We got our TV talking. But...
I know. We haven't done this in a while.
All right, everybody. Until next time.
For listening.